Hey guys, how's it going? Justin here. I'm bringing you guys another wet shaving video. Today I'm going to show you guys how I lather up Mystic Waters shaving soap. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I've been reading and hearing that a lot of people have had problems lathering up this soap. So I'm going to show you guys what I do, so hopefully you guys can learn a couple of tips and tricks that I use to help me lather up this soap. Personally, I've never had too much of a problem lathering up this soap, but there's a few certain things that I do, and I'm going to share that with you guys today. So as you guys saw, I'm using the Mystic Waters unscented shaving soap, but again, this is going to work for pretty much all Mystic Waters products. Before we get into it, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rinse out my lather bowl here. I'm going to be doing a bowl lather today just because I find that the easiest way to lather up this soap. And I'm just going to place a little bit of hot water on top of the puck just to sit for about a minute or so. And if you're doing a bowl lather, just the amount of water left in the bowl after you just rinse it out is enough to get started. So the first tip I have is to use a boar hair shaving brush. Today I'll be using the Badger & Blade Essential Boar Hair Brush. And the only reason I like to use a boar hair brush for this soap is because boar hair brushes are a little bit stiffer than, say, like a badger hair brush. So you're going to be able to pick up a little bit more soap. And that's just going to optimize your success at lathering up this soap. You want to make sure you have enough soap loaded to create a nice thick lather. So what I've done is let the boar hair brush sit in my mug with hot tap water for about 10 minutes. And now I'm just rinsing off the brush a little bit, and I'm going to fill my mug up again with hot tap water to use to lather this soap. Another note about the brush is that Mystic Waters shaving soap isn't a super hard soap. It is pliable, meaning that if you kind of press your fingers into it, it will leave an indent. So I mean, you could technically use a badger hair brush, but if you are having problems lathering up this soap, then I would say to start it with a boar hair brush, just so you have the best chance possible. The next thing you want to do is load up your brush with soap, and you want to do that for roughly about 1 to 2 minutes. You guys may have noticed that the container that I'm using is not the one that you get from Mystic Waters. I pretty much just bought a refill puck and I placed it into this tin, and that's going to be my next tip, is to use a wider container. I'm not sure about the size of the container that Mystic Water sells, but the tin that I'm using is about 4 inches in diameter, and I found that to be a pretty ideal size in terms of loading up soap. As you can see, I have plenty of room to splay the brush, and that's going to help me pick up more soap. Those kind of tins that you get that are less than 4 inches, for example, Synergy sells some of their soaps in the 3-inch tins. I find those tins to be a little bit difficult to load up your soap, so I would stick with something around 4 inches is a good size. Another thing to note here is that I am loading up the brush above my shaving bowl, and what that's doing is I'm just catching any of the drippings, and all those drippings are going to be going into the bowl. And what I'm going to do in a second here is I'm going to kind of get my finger and just scoop up all the soap that's on the puck, and put that into my bowl as well. So as you can see, a lot of soap dripped off into the bowl, and I also have a little bit of moisture here, and that was pretty much again from just rinsing out my bowl and emptying the bowl, and then whatever kind of moisture just kind of hung around. That's what I'm going to start off with. So I'm going to start lathering up my soap here. And another thing I want to mention as this is going on is that Mystic Waters soap is a little bit more heat sensitive than most soaps. So if you do use a scuttle, I'll just be a little bit careful about the temperature that you used, because again, Mystic Waters is heat sensitive, so I'll try to start out with warm water somewhere around there. You don't want to use like boiling hot water or anything like that with this soap, because it is a little bit more finicky. And then when you get it right, you can kind of increase the temperature to your liking. But I would definitely start out with a little bit cooler temperatures for this soap. Heat in general breaks down the lather, and I found that especially the case with this soap. So I usually only use somewhere in between warm and hot, but more on the warmer side. So I'm going to continue lathering up my soap, and pretty much I'm just going to keep swirling the brush around, and pretty much you don't want to add water until you kind of see that the lather isn't really doing much. If you're kind of building it up and it keeps continuing to grow, then I'd just keep doing that, and then when it's kind of not growing too much more, then I would add a little bit of water. You want to pretty much incorporate all the water before you continue to add more. And I found this soap to be pretty thirsty, so I wouldn't worry too much about adding too much water. Again, I found it to be very thirsty, so you can add a fair amount of water to this soap to get to that rich, creamy, thick lather that you want to get. So as you can see here, I got a pretty nice lather going, got some peaks, um, and it's that kind of thick, creamy, dense lather that you want to get. Um, and again, it didn't take too much work to get to this point. I'd say you got to spend about roughly 2-3 minutes kind of lathering up this soap. So with a little bit of time and effort, you'll get to where you want to be. I'm just going to show you guys here what it looks like this lathered up on my hand. I found Mystic Waters to be, once done properly, one of the thick, densest lathers that you can really get out of a soap. Very slick, very cushiony, all the properties that you want. Nice peaks, even in my hand. There's plenty of lather left over in the brush. This is definitely enough for a 3-pass shave plus touch-ups, I would say. Probably even more than that. As you can see, lather is very, very thick, very dense, nice peaks going. I mean, it doesn't get too much better than this, to be honest. So I'm going to go ahead and get cleaned up, guys, and then I'll be back in a little bit, and I'll give you kind of a breakdown of, again, all the tips and tricks that I outlined here, and just some final thoughts. Okay guys, so I'm going to kind of go over all the tips that I outlined in this video here again, just that are going to help you lather up the soap a little bit easier. The first one was using a boar hair brush, and again, using a boar hair brush is just going to allow you to load up the soap a little bit easier. Again, because a boar hair brush has a little bit stiffer bristles than, say, a badger hair brush. So that was the first thing. Second thing was the tin size. Again, I like to use around a 4-inch diameter tin, and that's going to help you load up the soap a little bit easier. Third thing was the load time. I would say you want to load for about 1 minute to 2 minutes. if you are having troubles, I would go closer to that 2-minute mark, and that's just gonna make sure that you load up enough soap on your brush. The next thing, the fourth thing, was the heat sensitivity. I wouldn't use super hot water to start off with this soap. Aim somewhere around the warm mark, and that's going to deliver the best results for this particular soap. And the last thing that I mentioned was this soap is thirsty, so don't be afraid to add water a little bit at a time. So that concludes our video for today. If you guys enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button. This is just going to help me gauge if you guys do enjoy my videos and if I should make more of these types of videos in the future. So please take some time to do that. So until next time, thank you for watching. Again, this is Justin. Have a good night and happy shaving, boys.